in the part of the moon where Chandrayaan-3 successfully landed. There is 14 days of continuous daylight, followed by 14 days of complete darkness. So how can Chandrayaan-3 contact with the Indian Space Research Organization ISRO team? During these 14 dark days, India has become the fourth nation to achieve a soft landing on the moon. But why haven't any other countries attempted spacecraft landings on the South Pole for today and while? Apollo 11 reached the moon in just 3 days. Chandrayaan-3 took 40 days to arrive. Welcome back to the Girls Mind videos once again. Viewers, the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3 on the South Pole of the moon on 23 August 2023 has given rise to countless questions. Since the Lunar 2 spacecraft at the Soviet Union made the first landing on the moon in 1959, a chain of these types of missions has been initiated one after the other to explore the lunar surface up to now. A total of 12 countries have launched 138 moon missions. So the question arises, what has Chandrayaan-3 achieved that has created such a buzz worldwide? Undoubtedly, 138 lunar missions have taken place, but ISRO has accomplished something truly remarkable. India has become the first nation to successfully land on the moon's South Pole. South Pole means lower surface of moon. This region is riddled with numerous craters and massive rocks. Because the sun doesn't set here, most of the time these craters cast permanent shadows, where it is completely dark. And obviously, when there is no light, how difficult will it be to land here? Furthermore, the moon's atmosphere is not as thick as Earth's. Means the temperatures can fluctuate dramatically. Sunlight areas can reach scorching temperatures of up to 120 degrees Celsius, while in the shattered regions, temperatures drop drastically to minus 250 degrees Celsius. Because of the coldness in these shadows at the South Pole, it is believed that there is water ice, which is interesting from a scientific point of view. But it can also pose a lot of difficulties in exploration. And the biggest problem to be faced here is communication. If you look at the moon, its South Pole is further away from the Earth, and its curvature is also blocking the Earth's view. There is also a risk of radio signal loss. At the time of landing on September 7, 2019, Vikram lander from Chandrayaan-2 separated from its orbiter to land on the moon's South Pole. The thrusters on Vikram lander were designed to slow down its speed. Everything was proceeding as planned until just 2,100 meters above the lunar surface. Vikram lander lost contact with the ISRO team. The outcome remains unconfirmed, but the analysis indicates that the Vikram lander deviated from its path during the fine braking phase and hit the lunar surface at high speed. But no evidence of this crash has been found yet. After the crash landing of Chandrayaan-2 on 28 August 2023, the Russian Lunar 25 also attempted to land at the South Pole, but unfortunately it too lost contact, after which it was declared a crash. So now the question arises that if South Pole is so difficult for spacecraft landing, then what is the need to go here? The straightforward answer is that lunar bases can address the challenges faced by future space missions. Getting a rocket to Earth is a big problem for a space mission. A rocket is fitted with boosters which produce extra lift. This whole process consumes a lot of fuel. An amazing 5,000 liters fuel is burned in just 1 second to lift the rocket. So now you can imagine how much fuel the rocket will burn until it reaches space. To ease these difficulties, scientists have a solution. Why not build a base on the moon? Because the gravity on the moon is very less. If you have to go on a space mission from there, it can be done with minimum fuel. But the problem is, where will the fuel come from on the moon? Or if there is a base, how will its requirements be fulfilled? As you know, there is a thread of water ice on the South Pole of the moon. If so, then oxygen and hydrogen will be separated from the water. And these two gases can be used as rocket fuel. At the same time, this water can be used for drinking purposes on a lunar basis. In addition, the lunar South Pole is believed to contain helium-3. This isotope is very important for nuclear reactors. If helium-3 resources are found here, it can be used to generate energy through nuclear reactors on the moon, and if its quantity is large enough, all the powerful countries want to go to the moon for the same scientific research, in which India's Chandrayaan-3 has entered history by 6 landing here. What's astonishing is that just 3 days before Chandrayaan-3's successful landing, the Russian Luna 25 crashed at the lunar South Pole. This mission cost approximately $200 million. In contrast, Chandrayaan-3 achieved the same feat at a cost of just $75 million. As for the design of Chandrayaan-3, it is divided into 3 components. First is the propulsion module, responsible for carrying the lander and rover to the Luna orbit. Second is the Vikram lander, named in honor of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, the father of the Indian space program. The Vikram lander was separated from the propulsion module from Luna orbit. It has 4 legs and is equipped with 4 landing thrusters, which can produce a thrust of 324 kilograms on Earth and up to 2,000 kilograms. Due to low gravity on the moon, it is specifically designed for soft landing on the moon. Usually, spacecraft can land on the moon or Mars in 2 ways. Impact landing, where parachutes are used to slow down the lander's speed, but still they fall hard on the lunar surface, which causes a lot of damage to sensitive parts. This method was used by ISRO at the time of Chandrayaan-1. This was a very hard landing, but controlled the mission was planned for a total of 2 years, but probably due to the hard landing instruments were damaged and contact with Chandrayaan-1 with ISRO was lost only after 312 days. Another method is soft landing, in which the lander turns on its thrusters as it nears the lunar surface. These thrusters not only reduce the speed of the lander, but also change its direction and take the lander to the landing side, compared to Chandrayaan-2. Chandrayaan-3 eliminated all the problems that were causing problems during Chandrayaan-2's landing. The most significant change in this mission was the incorporation of variable thrust engines. These engines could control the land as horizontal position during landing. Additionally, the Chandrayaan-3 lander is equipped with a laser Doppler velocimeter (LDV) that can detect the altitude of the lander from 3 directions. ISRO has made the Vikram lander of Chandrayaan-3 quite robust. Instruments are better interconnected, and extra backup systems are in place to minimize damage during landing. Inside the lander, various scientific instruments are present along with a robotic rover. The rover, known as Pragyan rover, is near a 1 meter long and 26 kilograms in weight. It will traverse different locations on the moon and conduct on-site experiments. The samples it will not be able to test itself. It will be able to bring it to Vikram lander. If all the research goes smoothly, India will not only be the first country to land on the south pole of the moon, but also be recognized for its pioneering research. Speaking of the launch of Chandrayaan-3 was lifted off from the Satish Dhawan Space Center on July 14, 2023, using Air LVM-3M4 rocket. From July 14 to August 1, it continued orbiting Earth. This is called orbit raising phase. During this phase, the spacecraft is maneuvered around Earth in such a way that it gains speed using Earth's gravity to eventually escape Earth's orbit by August 1. It had gained enough speed to escape Earth's orbit, at which point ISRO altered its trajectory towards the moon. In this animation, the blue dot represents Earth, the purple lines depict Chandrayaan-3's orbit, and the green lines represent the moon's orbit. Similarly, its orbit around the moon was something like this. On the first day, it made a large orbit around the moon, then day by day came closer and closer to the moon. On August 17, Vikram lander separated from the propulsion module and got closer to the moon. And only 30 kilometers remained. The thrusters were fired, activating the braking system. When only 150 meters remained, Vikram lander performed a hover maneuver for 30 seconds to locate a suitable landing spot, and finally around 6 o'clock, Vikram lander successfully landed on the south pole of the moon, making a historic moment. But why did it take Chandrayaan 3 40 days to reach the moon, while Apollo 11 completed the journey in just 3 days? The key difference lies in the mission priorities. Apollo 11 was a crewed mission, meaning its top priority was to safely transport humans to the moon and back. This required Apollo 11 to have a propulsion systems strong enough to achieve high speeds in short time to escape Earth's gravity. On the other hand, Chandrayaan 3 had no human crew. It was a research mission with the goal of achieving scientific objectives rather than reaching the moon quickly. Chandrayaan 3's success in landing marks a significant milestone in lunar exploration. Now, a crucial question arises: what happens to Vikram lander and Pragyan rover when there is no sunlight on the moon, because they can operate themselves only through solar energy? Since there is sunlight for 14 Earth days on the lunar south pole, followed by 14 days of complete darkness, the Pragyan rover contact with ISRO would be lost during these 14 dark days. However, it will remain in contact with the Vikram lander, and the Vikram lander will then be able to relay important information to the ISRO team. During these 14 days of darkness, they will do nothing to save their battery power, so that their main computer does not shut down due to power failure. The mission will continue until something goes wrong and ISRO's contact with the Vikram lander and Pragyan rover is lost forever. But one thing is certain: Vikram lander and Pragyan rover won't return to Earth because they only have as much fuel as was used at the time of landing. This is the video of the moon recorded by Chandrayaan 3's position detection camera just 8 days before landing. And this video is from August 17, when the Vikram lander separated from the propulsion module. We hope you'll like and share this video, and we're immensely grateful for your loving comments. See you in the next fantastic video.